Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Parapsychology and Anomalistic Psychology Research and Education. Started on Monday and will run through Saturday, February 14, 2015. You are seeing in front of you what we call the course collage. Our logo was created by Radiant Skies, who's an artist who's listed on 123rf.com, and I purchased it for the course. I recommend that set if you're always looking for logos and stock photos and so on. We have a list of the presenters. So I'm going to read Dr. Parra's biography, and then I will bring him back in again. Dr. Parra received his Bachelor of Arts and Masters of Arts degrees from the Universidad Abierta Interamericana, where he is now a teacher and an associated researcher. He received his PhD in psychology from the Universidad de Ciencias Empresariales y Sociales. His doctoral dissertation was based on the theme Percepciones Imposibles, Alucinaciones y otras experiencias anómalas, which is impossible perceptions, hallucinations, and other anomalous experiences. I love that title. Dr. Parra is licensed as a psychotherapist in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and maintains a clinical psychological practice at the Institute of Paranormal Psychology in Buenos Aires. And I have to say that the library in a particular institution has gotten some reviews from people who have been able to use it, and it's one of the best organized libraries, certainly the best in South America. So Dr. Parra is a past president of the Parapsychological Association, and he is the first South American to have gotten this honor. Well deserved, I must say, and did a wonderful job with his 2 years as president. The link that Alejandro is giving you at the moment, alisai.com.ar, is an extremely good resource full of information, announcements about his online courses, and a complete run of his journal and the C Bulletin.
Hello, hello.
Please start your presentation.
Yes, thank you, Nancy. In 1994, as an educational center dedicated to the scientific study of paranormal, anomalous events and experiences, the institute works is carried out almost exclusively in the Argentina, in Buenos Aires area. His focus is on experimental, clinical, and empirical research, plus the collection and publication of case report dealing with psychological experiences. As a non-profit research and educational institute, our institute has been recognized as a non-governmental organization. Well, from an educational viewpoint, the institute teach a basic program in parapsychology aimed at the general public that provides a comprehensive introduction to the field. Enrollment is limited and classes are small to permit individual attention. The controversies that surround the psych research and implications, its findings for science and society are also prominent topics in the program. And the work of the institute, supported by the student fees and by the income from endowments. And there are many study groups concentrating on different topics in the field: historical, educational, uh, clinical, theoretical, and experimental, all of the all. Secondly, is between 1991 to 2004, the Institute published 54 issues of peer-reviewed quarterly journal, the Revista Argentina de Psicología Paranormal, Argentine Journal of Paranormal Psychology. The journal's impact on many young psychologists in several Spanish-speaking countries was impressive. However, the Revista was discontinued for financial reasons. Subsequently, in 2006, the online publication site, of which 15 issues have been published up to date. If you want to download back issues, you can to see in our website. And the institute's main source of pride is his library of parapsychology, which contains around 4,000 books and 12,000 issues of parapsychological journals in English and non-English, popular magazines, and thousands of styles of articles from mainstream journals. It is the most important collection of its kind in Argentina, probably in Latin America. The institute also hosts about 3,000 hours video tapes and DVD tapes for psychological and related topics. Currently, the institute has 8 active members, most of them psychologists. Juan Carlos Artibay, Gustavo Silla, Juan Jimeno, Daniel Gomez Montanelli, Ivan Lopez, Fabiana Zapata, Jorge Villanueva, Alejandro Parra, and many others. All of them are also PA members, and many of them have obtained dozens grants from the Beagle Foundation in Portugal between 1998 up to date, which have allowed them to conduct studies of ESP in Gantel. 2 of them were meta-analyzed by Storm, and psychometry research, token object effect. You can see our poster in this class, and psychomantic and psi, and psychological and personality measures of anomalous paranormal experience. According this class, I would like to talk on our counselor research. Well, let me introduce to our class about a really exciting topic, and I would like to propose one experience, one online experience. This is my first experience for me also. That can you think any paranormal anomalous experience that you have in your life? I would like to select 1 or 2 experience, and if you want to write a short experience such as telepathy, precognition dreams, or out of body experience, near-death experience, apparitions, very really great. I would like to work. I would like to deal with 1 or 2 of your experience. Apparition, for example, yes. When you was okay, when you were 6 years, very good, very interesting. About teleportation is a really weird experience. But anyway, I would like to uh, hear about this kind of experience because um, we want to start our experience, our talk, my talk. This is my first part of my talk. This is a very interesting point. During the 19th, the Institute appointed a clinical psychologist, Daniel Gomez Montanelli, who, as part of this job, would give information about, and provide some counseling to people who called the Institute for help. And in 1998, Gomez Montanelli and me were also granted by BL Foundation for carry a research project named A Descriptive and Correlational Study of Persons Claiming Spontaneous Psi Experiences. And I was inspired by Daniel, and we were also involved in clinical parapsychology, in the Institute of Parapsychology, how to start an investigation technique to record reactions to disturbing psi experiences. The theoretical point of view about the clinical approach is a humanistic approach. Therapeutic change naturally blends themselves to working with people who deal with paranormal and anomalous experiences. The humanistic approach has always emphasized the strengthening relational bonds, the creation of personal connection, one our emotional experience and other growth related. And the humanistic therapists have always focused on the fact of personal growth and how it manifests in relationship with other growth relations. And they have always been with both relationships that more than the sea of their parts as having a life of their own. This perspective is consonant with the systematic viewpoint that form of the classes so much as couple and therapy. The humanistic practice simplifies the notion that people are born and transformed by their relationship with others. And one of the most important things that is that paranormal topics became more and more popular overall after the well-known movie The Sixth Sense, starring by Bruce Willis. As a start point, the movie results in a vast amount of radio and TV programs and especially articles in the popular press. Do you remember The Sixth Sense and the relationship between the psychologist and the kid who had a number of apparitional and poltergeist experiences there in his house? I thought, I think so. Well, one of the most important thing about experience. Nancy, can you move the following slide? Thank you. Um, the clinical activity that we start because um, there is a large amount of research in the professional literature that supports the effectiveness of humanistic growth therapy. Unfortunately, the usefulness of humanistic growth therapy within clinical population is not widely recognized by the psychological community as a whole. The therapy theory applied here emphasize a humanistic approach to growth therapy, more specifically humanistic therapy. These approaches also stress the importance of self-awareness in therapy because it is assumed that people who are self-aware can make better choices. For example, person-centered Gestalt and existential therapies all emphasize the idea that people are capable of acting in responsible and caring ways in interpersonal relationships. This is an important thing because unstructured group therapy has a stage that promotes the psychological growth of its member based on the Rogers approach. This stage occurs naturally as the members emphasize certain themes that often emerge from the growth process, such as dealing with anger or developing trusting relationships. Such themes are related to the themes of interpersonal learning experiences within the group that can be internalized and eventually generalized or caring and responsible relationship outside the group. And one of the advantages of group therapy as compared with individual therapy is that members have the opportunity to learn about interpersonal relationships. They actually experience these relationships with one another group. For instance, emotional and cognitive reactions have been observed among people seeking help as a result of paranormal experiences. Uh, the growth therapy has focused on experiences such as, for example, near-death experiences, apparitions, and the families victimized by poltergeist type episodes. And the recent development of this practice and the few individual therapies applied to these experiences still lack consensus. For example, Regina Hoffman interviewed with 15 near-death experiencers in her qualitative study. The near-death experience underwent an initial varying degree of shock or surprise, followed by a need for validation of the experience. In the first stage, for example, the near-death experiencers began to notice the effects of the experience on their daily lives. The next step in the stage, active exploration, experience, psychological experiences. Finally, where they were increasingly able to take hold of and apply their experiences to their life in a holistic way. Hoffman asserted that mental health care providers must be prepared to the clients and their struggles and success during any or of this stage. In three stage, um, this model focused the information, the media, and clinical activity carried out in the institute. The information, for example, is providing information to undergraduate or any other people in general who intend to write a paper on a psychological topic in lecturing in universities. In the media, for example, interviews for radio, TV, and newspaper about psychology, and the clinical activity, providing advice and information to people involved in regular counseling activities like psychiatrists, clinical psychologists, and social workers. Well, during the period from, first of all, I would like to talk different stage or different parts of our research and mainly counseling in parapsychology. Previously, Gomez Montanelli and me conduct a research to record reaction to disturbing psych experiences. 32 subjects participated in weekly sessions involving humanistic therapy in 7 groups. The activity involved 3 stages. Okay, A, emotional support, B, cognitive and emotional support, and C, group closing. Over 3/4 of the sample reported fear, different forms, to be predominant emotions, wonder, for example, perplexity, um, well-being, and anxiety were also reported. We conclude that the humanistic group therapy can be effective with people who have distressing experiences, such as those involving paranormal phenomena, and so it may be an appropriate method for the future for psychological exploration of many paranormal experiences. And during the period from the inception of the counseling service of the Institute in 1998 up to date, a total of 1,216 sessions with over 500 clients were held in the age range was 18 to 83 years. Of the clients, approximately 81% were female and 19% male, significantly more male request counseling in Argentina. And adults who have anomalous paranormal experience are usually required through media announcement. And they are invited to attend charge-free public talks at the Institute of Paranormal Psychology. 60% have high school as their their highest educational level, professionals, and many children have experience, but not explore children experiences. Do you hear me right? Very good. The sound is good? The sound is good? Very good. Well, oh, okay. Well, well, can you move the next slide, Nancy? What is the main complaints and concerns about people who have deal with this kind of experience? Well, first of all, many people express, for example, problems concerning spirits of ghost or heart at a distance, daños, or something like this. This is very common in Latin American countries. This is very difficult to deal with this kind of experiences because many people look at witch or fox or many others people in the ritual context who can help in some way, but no parapsychologist, no psychologist or physical. Yes, evil eye, Daniels, exactly. Evil eye, for example, exactly. And the second group try to search people such as psychic or healers or people to tell about something about the future. This is very, very popular. And let me see. Other people is interest on, for example, try to search, for example, psychiatric treatment or medical treatment, or people with the psychiatrist past who have undergone ambulant or intramural psychiatric treatment, and many other people search, for example, certain paranormal anomalous experience which they cannot explain to themselves or can explain them through a paranormal supernatural station. Very, very common way. Let me see. Well, often people have a strong reactions when they believe they have had psychic or psi experiences. For example, Hastings and Stewart suggested that the introduction of some sort of psychological counseling or crisis intervention techniques would be beneficial. Peculiar reaction patterns have been observed among individuals seeking help as sorry. Oh, okay. As a result of unusual experiences, with the most common reaction involving fear, for example, fear of being hurt, fear of going crazy, fear of someone else being hurt, fear of losing control, but also a sense of responsibility toward another person, feeling divine or spiritually gifted, and the desire to develop psychic abilities. Secondly, um, sorry, the characteristics of fantasy-prone personality may also support the suggestion that could be an hallucinatory fantasy. Um, well, this is an important point because imagery, fantasy proneness, absorption and dissociation, and the schizotypical personality is very important to analyze, to examine the difference between persons who report, for example, our vision experiences and people those report them. And for example, the results show the higher level of cognitive perceptual schizotypy, absorption, dissociation, fantasy prones, and visual tactile hallucination in our vision, for example, experience, but in non-experience. Uh, Apparitionals or ghost visions and another apparition-like experiences are also related to higher levels of reports of absorptions and imaginative fantasy experiences. Vision of ghosts may be related to cognitive processes involving, in many cases, fantasy and cognitive perceptual type of permanence, which are correlated with each other, and many therapies still react behind claims to recruit operations limited. However, they often do not tell anyone about their experiences. This is surprising since one would have expected that psychic experiences might also promote well-being and a healthy worldview. Little research has been done in parapsychology on the effect of psychic experiences upon the experienced life, that near-death experiences repeatedly have been found to induce positive change or transformation in many people who had them, and the possibility that some people may be disturbed by psychic experiences and may need counseling has often been disputed, but the incidence of such negative reactions has not been previously been investigated quantitatively. Can you move the other slide, Nancy? Thank you. Well, this is an important point because some clients are interested in acquiring knowledge within a clinical approach. Others are interested within religious, and others a magical approach. A spiritual advisor also acts with a counselor. The therapeutic approach to the investigation of paranormal and other anomalous experience is a point who deal because, for example, the dynamic approach to understanding such experiences can be seen in the use of terms such as transference or countertransference, in the consideration of parent-child relationships and ESP, and in the interpretation of telepathic dreams, from which psychodynamic models have been developed. Other studies have included, for example, clinical and theoretical approach, and there has also been some consideration of the performance of psychic advisors or, or therapists. Each psychologist approaches Each psychologist approaches her clients since particular theoretical oriented model ranging from the psychoanalytic, humanistic or person-centered therapy and behavioral cognitive model. Individuals who have disturbing PSI experiences may be looking for the counselor or parapsychologist in an effort to understand what has been happening to them both during their experiences and afterwards in terms of coping reactions they may have had. Um, Often the experience reaction to an experience can be more insightful than the very details of the experience itself. In their effort to find explanation or interpretations, they may be directed in trying more knowledge in a clinical approach that may range from psychoanalytic, humanistic, and personal spirit to the psychological approach. For example, psychics or pseudo-psychics, aura seers, Kardashian-oriented mediums, Umbanda, and other tools, mediums or channelers, healers, Reiki practitioners, tarot readers, and other divination practitioners have some training into psychic or spiritual practice. Um, However, can you move the other slide, Nancy? Thank you. Well, this is the end of the part one of my talk. And I would like to show you the next part of my talk. Thank you, Nancy. The other. Well, very good. I would like to talk about our experience deal with growth therapy, because this is a very interesting point. There is a large amount of research in the professional literature that confirms the effectiveness of humanistic group therapy. Unfortunately, the usefulness of humanistic group therapy within clinical population is not widely recognized in the psychology community. Uh, that anyway, the therapy theory that will be applied here emphasize the humanistic approach and the, the therapy theory that will be applied here emphasize the humanistic approach to growth therapy, or more specifically to humanistic existential growth therapy. And this approach also stresses the importance of self-awareness in therapy, because it is assumed that people who are self-aware are in a position to make better choices. Humanistic group therapies provide an atmosphere in which people can discuss their personal problems and engage in interpersonal learning. And existential group therapies generally emphasize that it is important for the therapist to allow the members to encounter one another in the group without resort to activities conducted by the group leader. The members are encouraged to assume the primary responsibility for what is discussed in the group and for the overall direction the group takes. And structured group therapy has a stage that promotes the psychological growth of its members, and this stage occurs naturally as the members emphasize certain themes that often emerge from the growth process, such as dealing with anger or developing yes, sorry, trusting relationships. Such themes are related to the kinds of interpersonal learning experiences between the groups that can be internalized and eventually generalized to more caring and responsible relationship outside the group. Well, secondly, the procedure of our group. Nancy, can you move? Um, very good. The next one. Ah, the next one. The next one. And the other one. Go ahead. Well, very good. We emphasize a humanistic approach to therapy, more specifically humanistic existential growth therapy, and we develop a procedure, a technique called the QSAR technique, developed by Stevenson for investigating a person's self-concept. This is a method, the technique can be used in group settings to attempt to access directly the patient's own perception of their experiences. Um, and let me show you. Um, the humanistic group therapy provides an atmosphere in which people can discuss their personal problems. Uh, for the paranormal experiences, one of the advantages of group therapy as compared with individual therapy is that the members have the opportunity to learn about interpersonal relationships, try to make members aware of that. Um, and A, paranormal experience are human experiences. The next. B, they can occur to every person and they are not an indication of insanity. And next, the groups are led by one or two trained therapists over 20-week periods. Participants took part in weekly 2-hour therapy group sessions, and the membership of the group was voluntary. And the first sort technique, as I told you, is the evaluation in order to observe, for example, the evaluation was made prior to entry into the group and after group therapy. And our results showed that the scores on the measure of disturbance increased. The mean pre-scored for Dutch 85, and the mean post scores 117. The next one. And the members report that they had been listened to, accepted, understood, and supported by the therapist as well as the other group's member. The next one. Yeah, this is a very interesting experience that we share in our group. I would like to read literally the experience. This is a apparitional experience in the hypnagogic state, probably, uh, confessed by Jorge, age 52. He said, I suffered a lot from the death of my father. We loved each other deeply. One night, 2 years after his death, I was watching TV until midnight and I fell asleep. I felt that someone gently touched me, like the pressure of a person brushing against me. I opened my eyes and looked sharply at my father. Like this, I asked him, what happened, Dad? He smiled and pointed out without talking that the TV was still on. I answered him, excuse me, I was asleep. He smiled, smiled at me always when I walked over here. Sorry. Hola. Hola. Ah, ¿cómo te va? Estoy sí, bien, bien, bien. Estoy con una llamadita. ¿Me podés hablar en 5 minutos? Sí, Anita. Sorry. And when I walked toward the TV, he disappears in front of my eyes. This shocked me. There he told me that in reality he was dead. I am certain that it was not a dream. I stood up, reached off the TV, and thanked God for this country. Then I understood that it had come as a farewell. Since then, I never had problems understanding his death. As of that experience, I feel more understanding and tolerant toward others. Well, I would like to share the experience, but I would like to know what is your reactions about this kind of experience? What do you think about this kind of experience? Can you write any reactions? Do you think that Jorge has a real um, that experience or apparitional experience, or this is maybe an hallucination experience? What do you think? Can you write something about this experience? Well, yes, absolutely, William. It was a beneficial experience for him. The other reaction? Yes, the real experiences. Very good. Laura, very well. Jenny, you said similar dream. Okay, very good. Joe Perry, I think that this would have been a real experience, a normal incident like this. Very good, yes, very good. It was real to him. This is a very, very good point. Was real for him. Because this kind of experience are real from the experience here, independent of our own opinion about that. It's important. Emiliano Pardo, I believe it's important to know how beneficial the experience was for him. Exactly. The experience for real for him. That's not hallucination. Maybe from the psychological or psychiatric point of view. Exactly, exactly, Shireen. Shireen, you think he was thinking about his father a lot, that his mind made. Okay, very good. Exactly, Emiliano. Or you just hallucinated everything. Yes, it's very common in the clinical setting to think about that. Nancy, can you next? Can you see the next slide? Thank you. The other case was very, very impressive because I know uh, Hector, age 48, 48, when he confessed his experience to me. My cousin Mirta and I were very close and we had a strong emotional bond. She died in a car accident very young. 1 year later, when I was 28 years, I was walking along the street about the avenue and I was reading, distracted, absorbed in my book. When I crossed it, Mirta appeared in front of me. It was her long body surrounded by a candle, glittering lights, dressed in the clothes she had here, silent, just like I remember and she died. Her countenance was serene and the operation lasted approximately a few seconds. She stretched out the hand announcing me out. I looked at her in surprise and stopped. Suddenly, passerby at 2 meters distance from myself crossed the avenue and he's brutally hit by a car which passed rapidly to my left. I was stunned, without words, since had I not been held up by her future, probably I would have been the one hit by the car. I think that her appearance was the form she chose to definitively be favorable to me. What do you think about this kind of experience? Uh, what do you think? What kind of treatment you if you were psychotherapist or counselor? What do you think? Yes, William. She recognized he was in danger by his neglect of his environment. She said to him, "Yes, this is the interpretation of Hector about this experience." Emiliano, this would be much harder to explain in materialistic terms. Yes, it's very hard. This is not only an apparition, but also one that warned the person of impending danger. Yes, I agree. Yes, Laura, it's wonderful. Absolutely. This kind of experience, I would like to um, say that the emotional reactions prior to their entry, um for example, negative ones such as fear of the unknown, fear to lose the mind, fear to die, fear to be unable to control the experience, fear not to be understood by others, astonishment, distress, anguish, or positive ones such as well-being, contentment, or sensation of not being able to understand what happened to me. And the emotional reaction at terminations, for example, not benefit, feel better emotionally, feel better in my interpersonal relations, act better at the workplace, contribute to personal and spiritual development, find new meaning in the experience, and find new meaning in my life. Well, the next slide, Nancy, please. Yes, Karen. He was definitely saved by her. Thankfully, he was in a slight meditative state, absorbed in reading to see her. Yes, I agree. This is the third and second apparitional experience combined with disturbing premonitional message. This is very, very strong experience. It's an emotional point of view. Stella, age 54, she told me, one night I woke up from the sound of a strong wind. I opened my eyes and examined whether there had been a door or a window open. Suddenly, I saw a frightening image. It was like a big full moon, which smiled at me, showing his head, and its eyes disclosed all evil. The image was just in front of my countenance and glowed at my head. The image was so hideous that I felt very scared and began to sweat. Shortly, the image faded away, disappearing while it moving toward the ceiling. I looked everywhere in the house for this picture and went back to bed. My family dismissed my experiences, saying that it had most likely been a nightmare. I was simply certain that it would have involved the warning that something that was about to happen. I felt that, I told them. I was convinced that had been I lived with these anxious people and days. Then they saw something. Then I understood that death had taken him away from me. My life, of course, has never again been the same for me nor for my family. Yes, very sad, Nancy, very sad. Do you know, when I hear this experience, the group broke the silence. It was very hard to recuperate our 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 heart. Um, the next slide, please. Well, what is your interpretation of this kind of experience? How tragic, absolutely. Yes, I agree with Cristobal. The client in this case will need help dealing with the experience and probably accepting her gift. Yes. Gonzalo Vega, yes. Precognitive hallucination, something like this. Precognition, yes. Well, this is a very interesting approach because a possible approach, the question whether or not the client had had the operational experience was not an issue. Using the humanistic group therapy, they felt quite differently about the problems. They had turned it into something which was positive and significant for their life. Our goal here is to provide psychological help to the client, and we cannot say it for sure if that experience is real or not, and take the experience as real because the client is convinced of its real character. Um, One of the most important things, the task of the facilitator of humanistic therapy group was to create a safe environment and a conducive atmosphere in which the members felt free to explore their perceptions and attitudes and to reveal things about their experiences that are not always socially or culturally acceptable. At times, the therapist might also need to take an active role in helping the members. It's possible to conceptualize the growth process that occurs in the humanistic therapy group as assisting the self-actualization of their members. Sorry. The next slide, Nancy, please. This self-actualization process occurs as members become more aware of themselves and others in the group, and uh, as they deal with personal and interpersonal issues that were limiting their self-esteem. Each member shared his or her experiences, including the main emotional reactions, past or present, but avoiding ascribing meaning to them as much as possible. Um, the goals of our strategic counseling, A, the most important thing is reduction of emotional tension associated with the experience, and B, integration of the paranormal experiences with the other psychological emotions and in well, let me say, the ideal is when the alleged paranormal experience is integrated by the client to become a part of his or her general uh, psychological experiences. Um, by the way, the results, the well-being of contentments were reported by over one-third of the participants much more frequently than negative feelings, such as anxiety, for example. Paranormal and or uh, other anomalous experiences and side events may often have a positive impact on the life of the person concerned. They can be indicator of continuous process of personal growth and the greater feeling of harmony with the world, with other persons, and with their own potential. Side experiences could also represent a healthy response to hostile and alienation surroundings. For example, Harvey Irwin, Australian parapsychology, include an item about feelings experienced immediately after the respective experience. Many people report, for example, being happy or cheerful, felt anxiety, some, sometimes depressed, and in other cases, manifested wonder, curiosity, and perplexity. And humanistic therapy growth can be used to help clients with a variety of disorders to develop more effectively and to deal more functionally with their paranormal experience. Can you pass the next slide, Nancy? And the main reaction was in our group was fear, including fear to the unknown, fear of not being understood by others, fear of not being able to control the experience, fear of losing one's originals, and fear of dying, and astonishment, perplexity, and not being able to understand what happened, and feeling that being was also reported by the group. Altogether, 41 participants were also recruited. Uh, well, our sample was just reduced to 20, and 60% had high school as their highest educational level. Professionals, members, people who were seeking information about paranormal and anomalous experiences they had or were currently experiencing. Sorry. Well, the next, please. And we close. Very good. Well, the data were collected from a self-administered questionnaire of 9 items and one open-ended. The members were asked to rate 7 items of the questionnaire prior and to their entry into the group, and a determination such as satisfy emotionally of my experiences, healthy comprehension of my experiences, rational comprehension of my experiences, integrating numerous paranormal experiences into my life, to be listened, included, and backed up by my fellow members, and to be listened to, included, and backed up by the therapy. The next one. Well, this is reactions prior to their entry and a determination to the sessions group. The next one. Okay, next one. This is the procedure. Three important things: that the emotional supports to create a safe environment and a conducive atmosphere, intellectual and emotional processing, and the group closing and interpretation. The next one. This is the statistics of anomalous paranormal experiences. You can see telepathy, spiritist contact, paranormal experiences in dreams, spontaneous healings, out-of-body experience, mystical experiences, spontaneous PK, haunting, spirit possessions. The next one. And the next one. This is the cognitive and emotional reactions to the paranormal experiences: amazement, perplexity, fear of death, anguish, fear of losing my reasons, fear of unknown, fear that others would not understand me, and fear that I could not confront the experience. The next one. This is statistics on the pre-group and post-group, just statistics about our work. Yes. And the next one, in order to finish my class: expectation prior to the entry and at the termination. And the next one. Well, the aims of their exploratory study were to explore the utility of using humanistic growth therapy to address the effects of paranormal anomalous experiences upon people's life, and to research model for how humanistic growth therapy may help clients make positive behavioral and attitudinal change with respect to their anomalous paranormal experiences. The main reaction were amazement, perplexity, and the other one, Nancy? Also, the differences were small. The data report here reveals a greater degree of satisfaction of the group members. Participant report being helped him to satisfy emotionally at the termination of the group, helped him to have more healthy comprehension of the experiences, and helped him to found rational comprehension of the experiences. Participants also report being listened, include, and backed up by the fellow group members. The next one. Well, the conclusions, obviously, the humanistic growth therapy can be effective with people who have serious distressing experiences. Uh, First of all, we hope we have demonstrated that humanistic therapy rules can be used to help clients with the severity of disorders to develop more effectively and to deal more functionally with their paranormal and anomalous experiences. Unfortunately, humanistic group therapy is an underutilized approach in today's managed care environment, where therapy still they need genocide sickness of kinds and other ways. The other one, finish. Okay. Well, the lamentable fact is that many practitioners remain unaware that therapy group and the humanistic therapy groups have been shown to be effective. Um, sorry. Um, the practitioners therefore ought to recognize the advantages of humanistic growth therapy, which is recommended that they consider undertaking process and outcome research on various kinds of humanistic therapy groups to determine further the effect that these group interactions can have difference on different types of clients populations, especially those who have had exceptional. Okay, thank you very much. Too quickly to finish, and if you have answer questions, I have 5 minutes. Thank you very much for hearing me, and I hope this is very useful for you and to the students of parapsychology. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro. If anybody has any questions, I know Ramses de Leon had one that he was going to write in. How much time have you got to give us, Alejandro?
Sorry?
How much time can you stay with questions and answers?
Maybe 3-4 minutes.
Okay, great. Let me see if I can get back to...
Sí. Yes. Tengo 5 minutos, 5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. One of the questions was, are the people who have paranormal experiences who want their experience to be treated as a psychological problem? So if someone really wants to have experiences, how do you treat them?
A lot of experience. For example, apparitional experiences, out-of-body experiences, and premonition dreams was the most experience that people deal with disturbing psychological disturbance.
If a person is looking to have many experiences, do you think that's positive or negative?
Usually positive experiences. The negative is maybe 20%, no more than. Maybe 25% negative and 75% positive. 10 is positive.
Do you recommend that people try to develop their experiences, to have more experiences?
Well, this is a hard question because sometimes yes, sometimes not. It depends of the psychological it depends of many psychological variables, because some people think that this kind of experience are connected with psychiatric illness, and indeed many people of our groups have a background of psychiatric diagnosis, for example, schizophrenia, many others, psychosis, kind of things. Yes.
Soha had some questions about the actual techniques, and I'm asking her to write you. I think if people have very detailed questions, it's probably a good idea to write you so that you can answer them at your leisure. Carlos was saying, have you studied the negative experiences, such as how do they affect a person in the long run? What are the after effects of a negative experience?
Well, the negative experience sometimes conduct people think, for example, tend to psychosis, but not always. Anyway, sometimes people think that his experience is negative, but the experience is powerful for him by other reasons. For example, the Jorge experience was very strong in relationship with try his grief of the death of his father. This is a point of, it depends on the point of view of the experiencers, I think.
Trevor was asking if it changes people's belief systems from materialist to a believer, and does that cause them a problem?
Yes, of course. Absolutely. Eduardo Mendoza said, had parapsychology is based on an explanation more or less ecological ability? Yes, absolutely agree. And so what if a counselor kept a client science approach as a schizophrenia? Yes, humanistic approach thinks that schizophrenia doesn't exist. It's very very hard to understand what is the frontiers to separate the apparitions and hallucination. This is the most problem from for the psychiatrists and psychotherapists. Yes, absolutely.
Soha is asking, what if the counselor helps a client with psi experiences using the humanistic approach and validates the experience, but the client really has schizophrenia? Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But anyway, one of the most important things is educational approach in order to educational in the university. It's very, very important. Educate to the counselor, to the priest, to the psychiatrist, and many others in order to understand this kind of experience better, because many professionals, many physicians, many psychologists, and many counselors doesn't understand better what kind of experience they feel, because many of them think that the paranormal experience is a bit of crazy or disturbing, the most model in terms to understand this kind of psi experiences. The most important point is to try to determine further the effects that these group interactions can have on different types of clients populations, especially those who have spectacular experiences.
Well, I thank you very much. I think there's some very good questions still, and I would urge everyone who had a question and we weren't able to get to it to please write it to Alejandro. You should be able to find him in the list of participants, and you can also go back to the course, the class listing, and write your questions in the discussion at the bottom of the class listing, or on the discussion page so that everybody can see it on the course feed page. And Alejandro, thank you very much for your efforts today. I think they were very good, and thank you, Tom, on copying the chat. And I'm grateful to everybody who stayed in for the entire talk. This is really wonderful. Carlos is putting in a advertisement for Alejandro's book, Psicología de las Experiencias Paranormales, which is in Spanish and is a very, very good book. So thank you, Alejandro, and thank you. It was wonderful. And I would like to remind folks of the upcoming classes. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have Dr. Daniel Benner, who will be speaking on paranormal healing studies, research practice, and life lessons. Friday, I'll lead a session on, actually it's supposed to say completing a certificate. I will try not to complicate the process. On Saturday, January 10th, Dr. Ed May will talk about his and Dr. Sonali Marwaha's multiphasic model of precognition. On Monday, January 12th, also at 2 p.m. Eastern, we will have Dr. Everton de Oliveira Maraldi from the University of Guarulhos in Brazil. and he will be discussing dissociation, identity, and belief, results from a multi-method study with mediums, atheists, and others in Brazil. And on the 13th, I will be doing my talk on modern parapsychology, a geographic view, and check the course schedule for more information. We've just recently moved Dr. Kathy Dalton from January 15th to 14th. So thank you very much to everybody who attended. Thank you again, Alejandro. It was a wonderful talk, and hope to see you all around the classroom.